there's something going on like TEDx. It looks really, really nice, really cool. And I think my mom already sent me a video or two about it. And I decided and told my friend, hey, you want to go there? I think there was also a bundle.
What do you do as an advisor to the board?
You advise.
The board. You advise the board.
You do stuff without any responsibility.
Before I had zero guidance. So it would be good to have people in the board that already went through what we went or that what we are going to go through and give some advice, give some knowledge that they have acquired during the time in the board. I think that's really important, and that's a good tip that we can continue in the new team for the future.
Yeah, I think what one needs to keep in mind is that this is still a student initiative, and also to anyone listening who thinks about joining a student initiative, please do, because joining student initiatives is something, and especially great ones like TEDxRWTHAachen.
Only for the keynote.
Respect.
Wow.
Respect.
And then drove back that same day.
Respect, guys.
Not the same day, the next day.
Okay.
Give away lava cake from there.
Now we have like both visual and audio. And
yes.
We founded an organization, a lobby organization, together with the German Endometriosis Association, a lobby organization for endometriosis patients. For those of you who don't know endometriosis, it's one of the most common female health diseases. It affects roughly 1 in 10 women.
How old were you?
I was 12.
And the oldest was 16? 17. What were we doing at 12 and 16?
I don't know. I don't remember. Probably playing with unicorns in my head or something.
He was trying to save animals from going extinct. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of TEDxRWTHAachen podcast. Today we are with the one and only, the guy that can be a student in the morning and save the world at night, Javed. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing very fine. Thanks that I could be here.
I'm very happy that you're here. I think everyone told us to host you, and everyone was excited to have you as the guest. And today, my co-host is the one and only, the team lead of marketing, Mafe.
Hi, nice to have you.
We're very happy to have you here today, Javed.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hi. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm also thrilled to be here, and it's really, really impressive. It's a really impressive setup that you have here. So for anyone listening or seeing this is the first time I'm doing a podcast. So anything that doesn't work, put it on me, because the team is super duper professional. You don't see how many people are running around behind the scenes here.
That's not true. That's not true. Put it on us, and we're happy to have you here. Okay, Javed. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the topic, the most important topic, which is TEDx. Let's just get straight into it. When did you first see TEDx posters or flyers, and when did you join TEDx?
So when I moved to Aachen, so I'm quite old-ish, not too old. So I'm 27. So I moved to Aachen about 11 years ago.
Okay.
10 years ago for my studies. So I was here in Aachen studying physics in the beginning as a bachelor. And then I was running around, and you always see like these little posters. I think it was a flyer I saw in 2016 in my first summer semester, so as a second semester student. I saw, okay, there's something going on like TEDx. It looks really, really nice, really cool. And I think my mom already sent me a video or two about it. And I decided and told my friend, hey, you want to go there? I think there was also a bundle. If you take 2 tickets, it's a bit cheaper. And we decided, okay, let's do it. And it was a really, really interesting talk. And I very vividly remember Professor Bardo, who was a professor for thermodynamics, giving a talk about thermodynamics. And I also remember Karl-Heinz Meyer, who is sadly died, who was the leader of the Human Brain Project, talking about the Human Brain Project and how they were trying to model an artificial brain and how they tried to build a brain in silico and model something like that. And it was a great atmosphere. So I already knew the videos, or at least I saw some of them, but I think the real power of TEDx is the event itself. And you could really feel that on that day, because there's so much love that went into it. And it was about 350 people, and you could see everyone was thrilled, and the atmosphere, and not only the talks, but you have the chance to interact with each other. And it was overall a tremendous day. So at the end of the day, I was so hyped that I thought, I need to be part of that team. So on that very day, I wrote an email and asked and inquired them, do you need another team member? Because I also thought, okay, yeah, cool. I mean, I want to be a part of that, and that is the power of these events. It not only inspires you to do stuff, but it also inspires you to become a part of the team. And that's how I came to be a member of TEDxRWTH Aachen in 2016.
That's wonderful. Who did you contact first? Do you remember?
Oh, that is a long time ago. I think I sadly do not remember that. I think I just wrote like this info mail address. But as it turned out, so I did have a scholarship with the German Academic Scholarship Foundation at that time. And it turned out many of the members of that Academic Scholarship Foundation, many of them were also part of the TEDx team, and some of them founded it.
Oh, no way.
So, for example, Taxan Sinutan, I think that's his last name, Taxan, he was also in the Studienstiftung, and I knew him already because I saw him a few months back at one of the weekends, and that was really, really fun.
What's the Studienstiftung for the people listening?
Okay, so there are different ways. I mean, most of you will be students, probably, and money is always tight. So you need to be economic with it, and there are different ways on how you can finance your studies, right? So on the one hand, you can take jobs on the side, you can be a tutor, you can supervise the library, you can take out a loan, you can get BAföG, but there's also the option to take scholarships. And I highly encourage everyone listening, sitting here, and also viewing this podcast to take a look at Stipendienlotse is one of them, and also My Stipendium and all the others, and we are not sponsored from them or anything, but just to get general information about scholarships, because it's really great, and the German Academic Scholarship Foundation is one of them. It's one of the oldest scholarship foundations. So what they do is they give you the opportunity to give you a bit of money every month, so you get 300 euros a month, plus what you would get if you would get BAföG, with the added benefit that in a scholarship you don't need to pay back anything.
That's wonderful.
It's really wonderful and gives you a lot of opportunities. But as with TEDx, the real benefit that comes out of something like that goes far beyond. And it's really the people that you have there. Because just as in the TEDx team and at the TEDx events, in these scholarship programs, you have a lot of motivated people that like to do stuff. And some of the friends that I'm still friends with, that I regularly contact, I found in the in the German Academic Scholarship Foundation, or Studienstiftung des Deutschen Volkes in German.
That's great.
Yeah, and you also get a lot of stuff that goes beyond your studies, and which is also in the spirit of TEDx.
And do you remember what was your first role when you entered TEDx? As a beginner, with the friends, the people?
Yeah, as a person with zero experience, I don't know why, was then head of finance. When
they appointed you.
Oh wow! So you entered directly head of finance.
Yeah, kind of, because I think there were like some switcheroos that we had in there, and so I was head of finance for the team for the next two events. So for 2017 and 2018.
Okay.
And then I stayed with TEDx until 2018. However, I still stayed on as advisor to the board
from
2018.
Let's just take a step back. You were taken into the team, interviewed, and then they were like, you know what? You're the head of finance. You had a team. You had to be responsible for a team. You had to talk to sponsors. How was that like? How old were you? And was this a big responsibility?
It was a big responsibility, and I think I could have done a way, way better job. I think like seeing how professional the finance team is now and how professional it was last year, getting huge amounts of sponsors, this was something that I didn't do. So I was 19 years old when that started. I was very, very young, and I think I didn't really comprehend this responsibility that it had at that time. Of course, I tried my best to do that, but seeing back now, nearly 10 years later, I think now I would do it very differently than I did it back then.
How would you change what you did compared to what you saw in the future team that's right now currently running everything in the finance team? Yeah,
so I think one
for the people to avoid the mistakes.
Yeah, I think like one issue that I had was really lack of communication. I think this is really, really important when you're working in a team, especially when you're working in a team that is that big and that has that much responsibility.
How many team members?
I think we were like 3-4 people in the finance team.
Okay.
And if you do a job like that, it's very important that you're in constant communication, right? I mean, like the people you are constantly checking, communicating with each other, right? And that you do regular check-ins, that you do regular meetings, and that you also are able to delegate work. That you also say, okay, I myself don't need to do anything, not do anything, but I don't need to do everything, right? Yeah, I myself don't need to do everything. If I have a team, and then it's very important that we communicate with each other, we delegate the work into small chunks, we regularly check in. And this is something that I do now in the different projects that I do, and I think it's really an experience from there. Nevertheless, we were a great team. Everything worked out pretty good in the end. It was a tremendous event.
Do you remember the members?
I think that is pretty long ago. Tobias Porschen, I still remember him because he was in there, and but I think that's quite a long time ago.
Quite a long time. Right? And then after being the head of finance, what was the next position?
Advisor to the board. So I was head of finance for like 2 years, and then advisor to the board. So
what do you do as an advisor to the board?
You advise
the board. You advise the board.
You do stuff without any responsibility. No, but I think it's rather that you come in case there are any questions, you can answer them. And I think this is also something that's very important for organizations to have some sense of knowledge transfer, right? Because it is an organization that is now more than 10 years old.
Yeah.
It is important to keep information and to really maintain knowledge. And I think having some people in there that can also say, okay, this is how it used to be, or these are errors that we try to avoid, is still good. I mean, it still works because I'm also in Aachen. Many members of TEDx
have left.
Yeah, they would have also done the same, right? But some of them just left.
But what do you mean maintain the information?
Yeah, so just to maybe give an impression of maybe stuff that happened, stuff that you could try to avoid, like learn from the experience, and basically just fulfilling the roles of advisors. If problems are encountered, I think it's also very good to just have someone to chat with it about it. I think this wasn't really happening in the past, but like just have the option at least to say, nevertheless, if you want to talk to someone who might have been in a similar situation, you can still talk to us.
What was the board like in the past? And how did it change to now? Do you feel like the members have changed? Do you feel like the members...
Or the organization also.
Maybe.
Because now that you're talking about the advisor to the board, when I became part of the board as marketing member, I was practically... I didn't know anything, and I didn't have anyone to guide me. Then, thank you, Dev, if you're hearing this. Then Dev came and did like an introduction. Okay, what's marketing? What do you have to do? And what are the things the lists that you need, the people, whatever. He gave me practically everything, and now I had an idea how to start. But before, I had zero guidance. So it would be good to have people in the board that already went through what we went, or that what we are going to go through, and give some advice, give some knowledge that they have acquired during the time in the board. I think that's really important, and that's a good tip that we can continue in the new team for the future.
Yeah, I mean, like, it sounds like Dev also did a tremendous job there, right? Like writing down the lists, writing over all of that stuff, and really doing it in a comprehensive manner. I mean, like also better than I did it back then. Like, I mean, I did a sit down with my follow-up and then explained to him what would happen.
Explains that this happened, this is how you should probably do it, because we did it this way, and it was some things happened like that, blah, blah, blah.
But that's also really good, because like I said, I had no idea. They were just, okay, now you're the marketing team lead. I was like, okay, what does this mean? I didn't have access to anything, literally.
But I think like also going beyond TEDx, again, like trying to take something away from this, it is really about this knowledge transfer. And again, like sometimes trying to just having someone to talk to. I think also not being completely left alone. I think that is also the feeling you might have had, right?
Totally.
Yeah, that you're alone in this, but just having the security, okay, even though the person is technically not member of the team anymore, he or she won't be in the board anymore, but it's someone that I could maybe sit down for with like 10 minutes or 5 minutes, or just give a quick phone call. Hey, what's your opinion on this? I think this gives a sense of security that also allows you to do more stuff or be a bit bolder.
100%.
Yeah, I want to add something to that, because like now the new members, like I'm a new member compared to you guys. You're both like 10 years plus, right?
I'm like, I don't know,
1 year plus at least.
Something like that.
And in the back, our research team, it's like a few months.
Yes.
So, and a few weeks now, right? Like there are people behind the camera. Everyone is new, but I don't think this is the feeling the new members are feeling, because I feel like you changed this from the past. Like coming into the team, I felt being very welcomed. I remember even like on the group, the group chat, I was like, everyone is saying, hello, Mamdou, welcome to the team. And then I joined marketing and I was like, oh my God, this is very warm. And everyone was like open to hearing my ideas. Maf is, of course, not just only open to hearing my ideas, she's only also like encouraging. So like everyone hearing us, this has changed completely for the TEDx team now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like the TEDx team before that, I mean, like the time that I entered, it was also the same, right? Like it was, I think you asked me what changed about the board.
Yes.
I think it just became more international. I think that is actually the biggest change I can say.
Okay.
I think that is also like a development that happened over time. And I think, at least to my understanding of this, because again, like it is a long time ago, it became a bit more international than it used to be. And I think this is also a good development, that we also have...
Of course.
That we have both perspective and all these different perspectives, not as if this was any one issue, but I think this quite naturally got attracted because also TEDx got a better, like not a better, but a longer standing. You were an institution at that point, right? Like you were there 4 or 5 years, and then it's more natural that also more international students want to join.
Yeah.
And I think that one point that you mentioned, Mandu, like having a team that really welcomes you, I think what one needs to keep in mind is that this is still a student initiative, and also to anyone listening who thinks about joining a student initiative, please do. Because joining student initiatives is something, and especially great ones like TEDxRWTH Aachen,
definitely,
is something that really enriches your life in different ways. Because not only, of course you're working, right? Like you work, but you're working, you gain valuable life skills about different things. I mean, the people...
And you're working on things you love.
You're working on things you love, and
marketing, strategy, events, program,
and with people you like.
IT with people you like, of course.
I think like that's the really important thing, because if you do stuff that you like with people you don't like, then you'll have a really hard time. But if you do stuff that you like with people you do like in this team, then it doesn't feel like work at all.
To be honest, I would even argue if I do something I don't like with people I like, I will like doing this thing.
Yeah.
Even
I'm definitely sure of that, you know.
I mean, like also like all of us like in this room, even the ones that are
behind the camera,
like the newbies, the rookies in this, they will know. I mean, there's a lot of work involved, right? Preparing for the event. I mean, there will be phases which would be a bit of a rut, right? But you will always have the assurance, okay, the team is with us in it. And I think this is something that is really good and really important, and also something to look forward to when you try to enter a job, right?
Definitely.
That you try to find an environment that
the correct really environment, the correct culture as well. You know what I mean? So we talked about the 10 years development, but I want to tell you something. The first time I saw you was in the last event, the same event that I decided to be a part of TEDx.
Oh, really?
And also it was the 10-year anniversary from our event. From our student initiative.
I saw you as a moderator. Tell me about that. Like this was a complete surprise to me, number one, because they told me our moderators for today are X and Y, and I was like, very interesting. I was the photographer. I took some pictures of the whole team at the stage, behind the scenes and everything. Do you remember the pictures, Mafa?
Of course I do. He has horrible pictures of me.
And I saw you there as a moderator. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so sorry.
Take your time. Would you like some water?
Wait.
Would you like more water?
No.
Okay.
But thanks. No, the moderator role. So this was quite novel for me because that was also the first time moderating, and it was also co-moderation, right? So this was really fun. And the past few years, I usually only did keynotes, and doing it as a moderator is quite different because you need to prepare a bit differently, but it also allows you to get a bit of a different understanding of the event itself, because you will get more involved with the speakers, and you get a better idea of the lineup. And I think it was...
Are you talking about the keynote or the TEDx event?
I think the TEDx event.
Okay.
Because as a keynote speaker, you do know the different talks that will happen, but you won't be as deep into them, right?
Yes,
I mean, as
course.
a moderator, you'll also talk to the people. You will ask them, hey, I think we should do this in this way. Is the introduction fine, this and that way? And also having this Q&A session. I think this was a very nice idea from the program team, whoever suggested that. And it was a really cool thing because it allowed you to have something beyond that. And I think that's also something that, again, going to a TEDx event is more than just listening to TEDx videos and TEDx talks live, but it really gives you something in addition to that. And I think the Q&A really underlined this, because it really showed you a deeper meaning of that. You could chat a bit with the people there up front. And designing these questions together with the speakers, that was really fun as well.
Have you been to every event in the last 10 years?
No.
Oh.
Shame on me.
Oh my God.
I
Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
No, at some point you just get one. No, I usually every year I really try to make it, no matter how busy I am or how it works out. So for example, in 2019, I think that was the first time I gave a keynote for TEDx. I had an internship. I had an internship and I came to Aachen from Berlin. So
only for the keynote.
Respect.
Wow.
Respect.
And then drove back that same day.
Respect, guys.
Not the same day, the next day. But I had to be in the office like the next Monday.
He came from Berlin, which shows you if he wanted to, he would. Just saying.
Yeah, like if you listen to this and you're in Berlin, TEDxRWTH Aachen is always worth it to travel more.
And if you listen to this and you're in Aachen, then you don't need to do the effort to come from Berlin. You're already here. You can join us.
I want to ask you one last thing. Did you try the food in the last event?
Yes.
The food was great. The food was great.
The food is one of the main selling points. So the point is whenever you I think there are different things that I learned from TEDxRWTH Aachen, like being there, saying how you explain what TEDx is to someone is very hard. I mean, like the ones that try to promote TEDx will know this, because trying to explain it to someone who doesn't know, and especially trying to explain to very broke and very stingy students why they should pay a certain amount of money to go to an event is even harder. But if you mention to them that Akel is catering Lebanese food, for some reason they say, okay, Akel is catering. Yeah, of course.
Great. I'm in. It's not
That's
even...
our marketing selling point.
They don't even second think it, They just decide, okay, I'm coming right now.
Yeah, and Akel, I mean, like the food is incredible and really amazing. And I think also having that variety that you have in there, Lebanese cuisine is amazing either way. I'm pretty sure it's one of the, if not the most popular restaurant in Aachen. Anyone who hasn't tried it should try it out.
Did you bake a cake with the team?
Not this time.
Oh my God.
I didn't have time this time. You didn't bake a cake. I didn't bake a cake. I did, however, and I want to mention this. I did, however, I think I brought beer. Like when I came back, I brought a crate of beer, and she can attest for that, and I also brought snacks. So
I mean, for the people listening, it is kind of now a tradition that I haven't lived. I think they have experienced it and they have tried it. It's a tradition to bake a cake with the team before the event, right?
Yes,
right?
the day before the event.
And you bring it to
the event.
Exactly.
With the people is it a tradition? So we had it. I think it was a bit different the other way around. Like we had this. So when you come to the TEDx event, so TEDxRWTH Aachen is a really, really great event because again, like it's the talks that you have, but it's an all-day event, right? So you start in the morning, you end somewhere in the afternoon-ish. So you will get hungry at some point, and you will get thirsty at some point.
And we give you a break to eat.
Yeah, and to chat and everything, right? And I mean, like,
and to get to know the listeners.
Yeah.
And also the speakers. I was in the TEDx TEDx Münster. And it was really nice because you can also connect with the speakers.
Yeah.
So it's not only getting there to, I don't know, speak to fellow RWTH or FH students.
Or your university.
Or
fellows,
yeah, exactly.
Friends.
It's also to collect the ideas or to get more into the ideas that the speakers have. And you can also network with them. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's really good. But like, I mean, regarding that cake, I mean, the point was rather that if you come to the event, you'll also not only get mental nutrition, as Office said, but you'll also get physical nutrition in the sense that you will also get cake. And when I was part of the team, it was, I think the idea was then everybody bakes cake, so the cake that you will get at the event will be baked from the team members.
It's kind of like made with love, kind of idea.
It's really made with love. And I do tell you, like, guys, for the ones eating the cakes, the effort the team puts in them is a lot. And I think I was also one time I made a cake at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable.
Because like, when you're part of the team, like it's a very fun day.
Of course.
But also like the event setup. Like, I mean, for those who have been to an event, like it's a whole process setting up the event.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
It's pretty long. And then you'll set up, you'll test tech, you do whatever. And then it's like when you come home, it's like 12 p.m. Yeah, at 24, whatever. It's
after the event, you went to see it. You came here.
Yeah.
No, it's before the event.
It's before the event.
You
and
have
then
to set everything up.
You have to set everything up, and then you think, oh shit, I still. Sorry.
It's okay.
Excuse the language.
It's okay.
Oh damn, I still need to bake.
We put that's
yeah,
it.
please leave it. But you need to still bake a cake, and that's why I think like the first cake I made was like at somewhere very very.
Do you remember the cake? Did it taste good? Can you bake cake?
I'm rather a better cook. I can bake cake. I can bake chocolate lava cakes. That's what
chocolate
lava that's
cake.
my favorite.
So those are really good.
Oof.
It's really good. You won't like if when we come to this event this year, you won't get any chocolate lava cakes from me. I don't have time to do this year. And I think like you can win it if you.
I don't know if I'm coming this year, Maffe.
If the team comes up with some lottery idea, you can. Win
I
my
don't know if I'm coming this year, Maffe. If Javed is not cooking the chocolate lava cake, I think I'm not coming.
We can maybe do a TEDx event out of it, like a TEDx team event out of it.
Just
I
for
have
Javed.
a new apartment now.
Just for you. We're gonna make an event just for the chocolate lava cake.
Yeah, you can come to me and you can have some cake.
Okay.
Give away lava cake from there.
Oh, then now we have like both visual and audio.
Yes.
For it, I think.
Let's go from TEDx to more about your chocolate lava cakes, because you only talked about TEDx, but is everything alright?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we need to know more about your hobbies. Okay. We need to know more about you, because I said at the beginning, you're a student in the morning and you're kind of saving the world at night. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of, no. Okay. I mean, like everybody's doing their hobbies, right? Like after TEDx, everybody's doing different stuff, right?
Yes.
So I thought to myself, okay, staying that time with TEDx 2 years was really fun. I also wanted to try some other stuff out as well. I think that was also good-ish to that point. I also started my master's at that point when I did that.
Did you join TEDx at the end of your bachelor's?
No, second semester.
Second semester.
So basically the beginning of my...
And then 2 years, you started your master's, ended your career with TEDx as well, but became an advisor.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that was roughly the timeline, yeah.
Okay, let's take a step back.
Yeah.
Let's go to baby Javed. Small baby Javed. Where was baby Javed at? What did he do? How did he grow up?
He ate a lot.
Ate a lot? He looked a little different?
I also want to know, like, something in baby Javed that nowadays you think, oh, that drove me or that influenced for me to be part of TEDx or from a student initiative or from a student group or something like that.
Wait, like baby Javed or like
a little bit grow up Javed, because baby Javed probably didn't. But
yeah, I mean, again, like he was. I mean, for baby Javed, it would have definitely been the food. But no, but I think so. When I was a bit younger, so I was always. So as I said, I studied physics, but
when you were a bit younger. What do you mean when you were a bit younger? You're 27.
No.
you're
Like
still young.
You're still young.
Yeah. When I was younger.
When you were okay.
No, but I studied physics, but when I was younger, I was also already into like this whole math, science, physics kind of stuff. It started around like I think I saw a presentation on the Large Hadron Collider that was built in 2000, or like that was put
in Switzerland.
Into the one in Switzerland.
Okay.
2012 when they found I think that's when they found the Higgs boson. Look, 2009 is when they started the Large Hadron Collider.
Wow.
And this is roughly the time when I think I did a presentation on that in school. And I was really into it. And then I thought to myself, okay, that's really interesting. Also, side note, my handwriting is really, 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 really bad. And
do you write like doctors? Do you know how doctors write?
Yeah, I know how they write. Like if you give me a piece of paper and a pen,
like
I can show you how
how
my handwriting looks like.
Yeah.
I don't think we have piece of paper.
I think it got worse. But the problem was, so my mom then kind of like in an educational measure forced me to write stuff. So she set me in front of like a dictionary, like not a dictionary, but like a lexicon, like an encyclopedia, to write stuff. And there was a page about an atom in there, so atoms. So I wrote stuff down, and naturally I also read stuff about that as well, because I started out writing it from a different book. I started writing about like some Star Wars book, but then she said, no, it distracts you too much, so here's that book. And then I wrote stuff like that, and I thought, that's interesting. So I got a bit more into physics, and when the Large Hadron Collider was then also initiated, we I researched a bit more about it.
How old were you?
I think it was
around that time.
12.
12.
And that's also when I decided I wanted to become a physicist, roughly.
Crazy, so young.
So
it
I
was
really have
a direction of literature that took you into the world of sciences.
Kind of, yeah. It was.
That's a very interesting.
And like again, it is if you follow this, it was really my mother that and my bad handwriting said forced me into this. But no,
very interesting.
But she and my father they always encouraged this. But yeah, so I was a science kid. I am still a science adult. Maybe a bit of a nerd in different aspects.
The science guy.
The science guy. And this was always really, really, really fun. But the point is, when you do that, you kind of tend to focus only on these things, right? Well, I think when I was younger, I was really into these things. I had a lot of fun doing them. So when I was younger, I had like basically 3 things happening. I was super into Taekwondo. I'm also, I was super in that. I also did like a training license in that. I went to school and I did science. So that was like my life-ish. Of course, I had friends and everything, but this was like.
I was about to ask. Do you have friends?
Yeah.
In school. just asking.
Yeah.
Just asking.
I mean, that's up for them to decide. And yeah, I don't know. No, but many of them I also then met through this science stuff. So what we had in school were these working groups called AGs, and we had something called, the Germans will know that it's called Jugendforsch. It's like a youth science competition, and you work on a project. And then you hand that project in to a competition, and then there are 3 levels that you do. So there's a regional level, regional, state, and federal level, and then you compete. So you will present your work like in a small setting, and the juror will read what you wrote. It's like a mini thesis that you write on your research. Then you present it, and then if you get the first prize, you succeed to the next round. So when you win at the regional level, the first prize, you go to state level.
What did you have to give in for the first competition?
For my very first competition? Yes, I can remember. So it was, I think also there, I was 12 years old. I was on the physics side, but I also did biology. So basically I went through the working groups of biology, chemistry, physics, and tech. So I
Sciences,
basically.
Okay.
I did it quite a long time. I think I only stopped in 2014 because then I started my A levels. And the first one that I did was on something I'm struggling for vocabulary now because I don't know the translation to English.
Say it and we will try.
Yeah, so in German it's called a Geburtshelferkröte, or in Swiss
research team.
Glöckli-Frosch. It's in Swiss.
The research team is saying, I do not know what that is.
And the Glöckli-Frosch or the Geburtshelferkröte is something, so it's an endangered species. And in my school we used to have like a big yard. It's like an atrium. And in there, a few years back, some of the students, together with one of the teachers who was very, very motivated, Herr Osterwind, shout out to you, they settled, like, they tried to breed them in there. And the Glöckli-Frösche, they are like this big. And they are called Geburtshelferkröte because the males take, I don't know how it's called, the Laich. Like, you know.
The body of the dead animal.
No, the Laich, like where the eggs are in, right? Like the eggs of frogs.
I think.
Toad. Yeah, it's a toad.
The obstetrician toad.
Oh yeah, obstetrician toad. Thanks, yeah, that makes sense.
Thanks, research team. Thank you very much.
The obstetrician toad then takes the Laich, so the eggs that they lay, whatever it's called, and they put it around their legs, but the males do that.
What?
Yeah, they string it around because the female was so exhausted from doing that, and then they just jump around with them. So that's why they're called Geburtshelferkröte. And then what we did in that project was the following. So amphibia have several diseases, like diseases that can kill them. And there's one particular which is called chytridiomycose, which is a disease that is caused by a fungus called Batrachochytrium dendrobatides, which is a fungus that I think comes from Africa. I think that was it. It basically infested the Geburtshelferkröten, the obstetrician toads. So what we did then was trying to think like how can we solve this? So what was already there was a fridge that had like time control and like some lights in there. So it was there because obstetrician toads need they need like a cold shock in order to pair. So you need to put them in this over winters. So it gets cold enough, and only then do they mate.
Oh, crazy!
For some reason, don't ask me why this is the case. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so we had this thing already there. And because the fungus comes from like tropical temperatures, the thesis was that it wouldn't survive if the toads
We're
go to
appearing
the fridge.
in the fridge.
Yeah, if they go to the fridge to like not hibernate but like live there. And this was actually the case. So
Poor things.
Yeah, then they were PCR tests happening, like, and yeah, you could show that the viral load decreased. The fungus load decreased, not the virus. Yeah, that was one of the projects.
This is the first one?
Yeah, that's the first one. That's the one with 12. But again, like, it's a team, right? Like, I was the youngest on the team.
How old were you?
I was 12.
And the oldest was 16?
17.
17. What were we doing at 12 and 16?
I don't know. I don't remember. Probably playing with unicorns in my head or something.
He was trying to save animals from going extinct.
But now, it makes sense because
yes.
Because since you were always into science and that stuff, like, it makes sense that you joined TEDx.
Yeah, but also trying to give a shout out to all the teachers that do this, right? Because if you do Jugendforscht
and for the support.
Yeah, and the support that you get there. So, for example, Herr Osterwind, who was the one from the biology group. And there's a second one. This was the first group where I started, but was also a chemistry group from Dr. Enslin, who has now been supervising Jugendforscht projects for over 40 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean,
shout out to him.
Shout out to him. Last year, he turned 80. He's still doing this. Every Friday from 3
Going
p.m.
strong.
Every Friday from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., he's there in the lab working on the projects with the kids. And this is like really the thing that you have when you have like great teachers.
Are you still in touch with your teachers?
Yeah. Like
Great.
with Dr. Enslin, I'm still in touch. Osterwind, sometimes we're writing. Dr. Pleschinger, he was the last Jugendforsch teacher kind of I had. Because he was physics and tech. So he did his PhD in plasma physics in Romania. And he then became a teacher in Germany. And also he's spending like his afternoons, Friday afternoons, supervising children, helping them build like solar mobiles, like small things, teaching them how to solder. So from him I learned how to do electronics, like basic electronics. I'm not super good at it, but how to solder. And he put so much effort and so much work into this. All of them do, also Dr. Enslin and also Herr Osterwind, which is really something that you can only wish for. So I was very, very lucky to have a school that encouraged all of this.
I would like to take a moment and just ask you about that, to be honest, because I feel like your teachers had a big influence in your life, especially in the direction that you took your education.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like good teachers do this all the time with people and bad teachers maybe, like, I would assume if you had a bad teacher, this wouldn't be the case, correct?
I mean, I think you can summarize it with good teachers care.
Yeah.
And if good teachers care, they will, on the one hand, give you support if they see you're struggling with a subject or certain things. Also, they will see if you're struggling with other stuff and why this might impact your performance.
Yeah. And if you're doing well, they're going to push you to do excellent.
Exactly. So, for example, Herr Osterwind, I was, I think, there at the time, so I was good at this stuff, right? But then he saw, okay, like, it doesn't make sense to let the kids sit in on the same classes, so he gave me more material to work on, which is really good because that's how you can deal with an annoying kid, right? Like, you can...
Were you annoying?
I don't know, maybe. I think to my mom, kind of, maybe, but talking about...
If we ask all our moms, they're going to say, you were annoying, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Like,
right. I can imagine that, right? Like, talking a lot of stuff, asking a lot of questions, but no, she pushed. I think like this is really something, but on the one hand, so you need a lot of good teachers, you need good teachers or need a good support system. And of course, some support from your parents or your house is also great. I mean, I was also very, very much fortunate enough to have parents that were encouraging me to follow this as well. And that always helped me out with this as well. I mean, I can remember one Christmas, and my mom likes to recall this as well, where we were in our house, and so for Jugendforscht you do these experiments, right? And we were very, very last minute for a project with a friend of mine who also studied physics, Aachen. He studied in Zurich though. In Zurich.
Oh, in Switzerland, okay.
In Switzerland, also physics. And he and I and Dr. Enslin, the three of us, were sitting at the kitchen table. It was like 2 days before Christmas, and we were trying to do some stuff. And we were trying to build, I don't know what we were building, but then we also started to do some experiments, and we nearly put a fire on the rug of my parents. Yeah, nearly.
Oh my
because
God.
there was a soldering iron that we forgot to unplug, and it nearly sparked a fire. But it didn't happen. I think she retells it to me like in this way, saying, "Yeah, so I walked in, and you three guys were just sitting there, and I was smelling that something was like about to burn. So then
that my house was about to burn.
That there might have been a small fire hazard going on.
I mean, don't worry, just do you, but there's something burning. I apologize. My mom just called me.
Talking about moms.
Talking about
Yeah,
moms.
you can put her on the podcast as well.
I would like to. She was here.
Really?
Yeah, she saw
Yes,
us.
we wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, but I mean, like this is. I mean, on the one hand, like parents putting up with this.
Yeah.
is one thing that's good, but
Yes.
also like on the one hand, encouraging you to do
Yes,
this, but
the support.
the support that you get, and also saying, yeah, I like to do that. And for example, my dad, he always drove me. So also when I was younger, to like meetings at, I don't know, there was an astronomy club in Erkrath, and then he said, oh, okay, there's a meeting about
I'm sorry, where?
in Erkrath. It's like I am from Hilden, which is a small city in the suburb of Düsseldorf,
Okay.
and there's like a small city on top of it, like
Okay.
geographically, and there's like an observatorium, and they had presentations on different stuff, and then we saw, okay, so there's a presentation on, I don't know, quantum foam or whatever, and it was more on the popular science level, right? Again, I was a bit younger, so then he said, yeah, no worries, well, we will go there, I drive you.
That's
And
really
then we
nice. The
went-
support, and also he's encouraging for the things that you want to look or to explore further. He's
Yeah.
encouraging you to do it. That's really nice.
Yeah, he was definitely doing that
Yeah.
a lot, and if there was a presentation on black holes, he would also go there with me and try to do that. Or whenever he said, okay, so if you need a book, you will get it, which is also very nice motivation if you
Yes,
can do
of
that.
course.
Right?
Shout out to good mentors. Shout
Yeah.
out to good teachers, good parents,
Mhm.
good people who guide us in every step, especially in our phase where we have no direction.
Mm.
Fun
And
fact,
Definitely.
Javed's mom is our biggest fan. She is the person that has been to the most TEDx events in Aachen. Yeah.
That's really, yeah. shout out to Razia Lindner in Hilden. But yeah,
Yes, thank you for the support.
that is like the bonus information that you only get on the podcast of TEDxRWTHAachen. Here
Exactly.
you get the raw
Exactly.
insights. Yeah, so last year when I was hosting moderating the event, because it was the 10-year anniversary, we asked the people, okay, how many times have you been here? And we had this little game. So, yeah, who has been here first time and then 2 times? And we counted down, like, how many times can we count down? And there were only 2 people left at the end.
Yes.
And the 2 people left were my mom and my friend Alex, who also comes. And he also used to be part of the TEDx team.
Nice.
That's
Yes.
correct.
So
Yeah.
shout out to your mom and to Alex.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Can we give her a free ticket for the
Of
next
course,
event?
we will.
Nice.
Of course.
Really
Why
cool.
wouldn't we? I feel like it's so,
Exactly.
yeah. Dumb question. That's a dumb question.
Sponsoring ticket.
This is also on audio and video. So
You're
it's
having
on
a
the-
free ticket, Mrs. Rind. What's her Nachname?
Lindner,
Frau Lindner.
like the former Minister of Finance.
Yes. Oh. Okay. So let's go slowly and talk about something in the future, and also go to your life. Let's talk shortly back to TEDx, which is the event that we're gonna host in May.
Yes, we have official date.
Yes.
It's the 24th of May.
Yes.
We got the confirmation last week because we didn't have anything booked. So it's like always, well, not always, but we always do it in Aula. So
It's gonna be
Yeah.
in the RWTH Aula like
prettiest building
last
Aachen.
year. Yes.
besides the dome, of course.
Yes. And we would like to see you there. Please follow us on Instagram to see the latest news about the event. Back to you, Javed. Back
It
to
was like
Javed.
in the news. Back to the main stage.
I mean, I can also try to advertise a bit further. I mean,
Please.
again, as I said, so when you're part of TEDx, I think one of the skills you learn is selling. I think that is really something. You learn how to sell stuff, and especially you learn how to sell the event.
Finance guy talking, guys.
Yes.
Please listen. You're in the
So
finance team, right?
Yes, he was.
No,
Yeah.
you.
No.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay.
Also,
Also.
Yeah.
I'm finance team also. Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
So
please go on. I'm sorry.
yeah. So of course we are not selling an event. We are selling an experience, because really I think I've stressed this in the course of this episode quite a lot, because it's still the impression that I have TEDx is so much more than just the talks. And as Mafe already said, having the chance to talk to the people, having the chance to connect to other people, which is also why I love the theme that you have this year, which is
connecting the dots.
Connecting
ding,
the
ding,
dots.
ding.
This is an amazing motto, because this is really what TEDx is about. And you, as you are a member, or not a member, but a participant of the event, not only will you have the chance to listen to these great talks, but I also greatly enjoyed talking to all of these different people. You have different people from different backgrounds. You have people who study here, who come here, who alumni who come. And
professors, entrepreneurs, everything.
All kinds of different people come there, and just connecting the dots between each other. So you can say, I think maybe that will be a thing at the event itself. Then saying, hey, so this is an idea that I have. Maybe I can find someone at the event who also wants to join me.
Totally, 100%.
I'm struggling with this problem. Maybe someone at the event can help me out. And you can only imagine how much brain power you have, like with 350 people there from all kinds of different backgrounds. And this is really the power of a TEDx event, on top of great catering and great talks and a great team that puts a great deal of effort into it.
Actually, I didn't ask you. Who was your favorite speaker?
This is a very... All of them.
All of them?
All of them.
Okay.
All of them. All of the TEDx speakers.
Who is very close to your heart? Very close to your heart.
Very close to the heart. I forgot the name though, but I do remember the story very vividly.
Okay.
So I think it was 3 years ago. It was 2022. We had an event where we had one person who was a clown at a children's hospice for over 20 years. And this is one of the best stories I ever heard, and one of the best things I've ever heard. Like really talking vividly about the role of humor in a really desperate and a really, really hard situation.
And hearing.
Yeah, and hearing from someone who has been working in these conditions for 20 years, because not only are you talking with people who are going to die, but you're talking with people who are going to die who have not passed the age of 10, maybe, or 12, maybe. And then having this experience, talking to someone like that, and still seeing that he's someone who is full of life and who really values what humor is about. So if you guys haven't seen the video, so all the videos from TEDxRWTH Aachen are also on YouTube. You can also, that's also really good. You can watch the talks. If you decide to watch a talk, my personal suggestion would be to take a look at this talk, which was also very fun because it was also a bit of interactive. He entered the room as a clown, and then he talked about it. So he stumbled across the stuff, and then he talked about these things. And I think this is one of the more moving talks that really has value beyond, because you can never escape grief. Grief is a part of being human, but seeing from someone who has to deal with grief on a regular basis as a job, how to deal with it is really something that enlightens you.
You know, I don't want to take time and talk about me, but I think...
then don't. No.
Okay.
No.
Talking about you, Javed.
Go ahead.
No, but because my tears are very I can't hold my tears when I'm talking about something like this. But in Egypt, I'm from Egypt for the people listening from Cairo, and we have a hospital there called 57357, and they are always doing campaigns and advertisements on how can you help them financially, or how you can come over and be there for the children, and it's focused on young kids who have problems in the heart, and it's just it kind of breaks your heart. It touches you, but also breaks your heart. It makes you appreciate your life more, It makes you appreciate every moment a little more,
It really does.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a difficult topic to talk about, especially if you go and visit them. You just see parents holding a baby, or parents going on with their life, and just you see them hugging a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old, and you think of it's a difficult situation to be in, and it
really is,
and they have to be strong.
Yeah,
and it's difficult,
Yeah, and I think this is also why I like that talk that much, because usually I think there are very, very different ways to process grief, to think about the topic of grief itself. I think there are also very different ways how different cultures approach the concept of death and grief itself.
Definitely.
I think one of the closest examples you see there is, for example, how, Mexican culture approaches the topic of grief, and how Central European culture approaches the topic of grief, even though both regions have strong Catholicism, which is the same base religion, but very different cults around this. Same with some African countries. And having, again, like someone who works with this, where it's one of the jobs. I mean, there are many, many jobs that deal with this on a regular basis. You have doctors, you have people who work in funeral departments, who also see heartbreaking stories and all the things. But having someone who deals with this on a regular basis, and everyone working in these hospices, they are doing very, very important work. And yeah, it's good to have a perspective from this. And I thought this was such a unique perspective and such a very much interesting talk, which is why it's lodged into my head. So
and also really inspiring to see.
Yeah, definitely.
To see someone keeping a smile in a situation like that.
Yeah, it's really inspiring.
Yeah, that to decide that this is not only a profession, but this is like what you want to do professionally. But you want to do this not only as a job. In German, it's the sentence not only a Beruf, but also a Berufung. You could see that this was not only a job for you. I think you can't do that if that is your job.
Yeah.
But it's really something that you do wholeheartedly. And I mean, the chance to meet people like this is something that I found personally you only have at TEDx, and especially TEDxRWTH Aachen.
That's great. And it's very difficult to move on from a topic like that. But I think as Javed, as great you are, you actually do something, I wouldn't say would challenge the greatness of this guy, because this guy is doing something so difficult, but you're trying to impact the world in a positive sense as well, which is what you're working on right now, next to your PhD, which is?
Yeah, so everyone trying to make a difference in their own way. And one thing that I like to do, I mean, I started the project a few years back in 2019, with a very good friend of mine that I met in the German Academic Scholarship Foundation. So both of us used to be scholarship students there. She still is as a PhD scholarship student. And we founded an organization, a lobby organization, together with the German Endometriosis Association, a lobby organization for endometriosis patients. For those of you who don't know endometriosis, it's one of the most common female health diseases. It affects roughly 1 in 10 women of childbearing age, mainly meaning that we have the WHO reports 190 million cases worldwide, which contributes to roughly 2 million people in Germany. And just to put this in perspective, because it's a big amount, we have about 1.3 million people suffering from dementia. And for sure, you know someone who either has dementia or has a friend who has dementia or has a family case of dementia. And we have more endometriosis patients than this. The disease is the following. So what happens is that tissue that is very similar to tissue that grows inside the womb, so-called endometrial tissue, is growing outside of the womb. So it settles, for example, it grows on the gut, it grows on the bladder, and in very rare cases, you also find some of the tissue in the eye, in the brain, in the lung, some other cases. Mostly it's focused here. And basically, because this is endometrial-like tissue, it will also process the cycle as does the usual tissue. So this leads to very, very severe symptoms. Severe pain that people who have both endometriosis and had kids described as the same pain. So we have endometriosis patients who actually don't know that they were in labor because they just had...
They thought it was the normal pain.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
So this is one symptom, but it's a variety of symptoms. In the community, it's called the chameleon of gynecology because of this. And the problem was, and still is, that it's severely underrepresented. So the past 5 years, this changed because of the great work that the German Endometriosis Association and a lot of the patients and endometriosis patients are doing. And yeah, so what Verena Fisch and I then did was to go to the Endometriosis Association and say, alrighty, we want to change this. We want to put endometriosis on the agenda of the German health politics. And yeah, so that was our plan, and that's what we have been doing.
Shortly talk about Verena Fisch and how you met her and who is she and what is the role she's playing in changing this.
Yeah, so Verena Fisch is doing her PhD in social work, and I hopefully quote this correctly, so she's working on community gardens. That's the work.
Okay.
And she did that in Glasgow. And yeah, she's amazing. Again, like we met, I think it was at one of these seminars. When you do these scholarships, again, like encouraging you to apply for any kind of scholarship, just try to apply and try to also approach the uni that you're at to see what kind of programs they have. Because you will meet people like Verena, and you'll meet them at seminars. And this is, again, like why it's so much more than just the money you're getting. So we went to a seminar, or we were at a seminar together just like randomly, and we just kept in touch. So we chatted a bit, and
When did you meet? Family. In your bachelor's?
No, I was in my master's, I think.
Okay.
And then we randomly chatted a bit, and I have some family in London, and at that point in time, she was still studying in London. So at some point, we decided to meet up and say, hey, you want to do something? And
catching
up, seeing what's happening. And I decided, okay, let's go to the Natural History Museum. It's a great museum. And we went there, and we were in an exhibition, or it was a part of the exhibition on the human cycle. And then I told her, okay, so I never really got the difference between the different pills that you have. So you have the mini pill and you have the pill itself. And then she said, oh yeah, that's much more complicated when you have endometriosis. And so
it clicked.
And then it really clicked in the sense, it doesn't really click. It was like, oh, what's that? Because I always thought I had good sex education in my school. And I never heard about that. And then she told me about it. Yeah, it's like this disease. People wait years and decades. So I think that's also what I forgot. So endometriosis patients, on average, wait between 6 to 10 years for a diagnosis. No. This is an average, 6 to 10 years that you're basically suffering from this alone, and that it's ignored. And that's basically you being told, okay, these symptoms,
it's anxiety.
It's anxiety. It's imagination. No, but this can't be like this, especially when it's this severe and impacts not only all different kinds parts of your life. No, but then she told me about this, and I was like, no way. And then I went back, researched about this, and said, oh, shoot, we can also bleep this. It's insane how many people suffer from this. And because so she had her diagnosis in that year, and I had my internship with the German Federal Parliament in roughly also in that year. So we both sat down and said,
let's do something.
Let's do something. Let's do that together. And as you do this with these projects, first what we did was to do background research. What has happened politically?
Of course.
So far, nothing is the answer in Germany, or was the answer at that point in time. And then we thought about, okay, so how do we do this the best way? Do we want to found our own association? But this wasn't the best course of action. So we decided to approach the German Endometriosis Association, who was doing already a great job for over 20 years. And we asked them, hey, do you think about maybe doing a bit more on the lobby side, doing a bit more political work, which was a good point in time because this was 1 year before the federal election in 2021. We had a big survey, like the first survey that we did with over 1,500 people that suffer from endometriosis. And from this, we distilled the problems that were there. So what are the problems that the people are really facing?
Can you mention them? Or not every problem, of course, but the top... the top 3-5 problems.
Waiting times for diagnosis. This is a big problem. Getting some medication approved. This is also another big problem. And having general awareness
about
as a thing, because
the
it's
disease.
About the disease, because it's a chronic disease. It not only afflicts you on a medical thing, but it afflicts your whole life. It afflicts your work. It afflicts your personal life. It afflicts also your family life in some sense. It also afflicts your education. Just think about it. Like when you're a young patient, a very young patient, you can't go to school when it's severe because you have so severe symptoms, so severe pain that you can't keep down pain medication, or you can't take pain medication. That is bad. That cannot keep like this. And having not only this affliction on its own, but also having the mental load and also having the stress to re-explain it every time, and having people doubt this is really hard. So awareness is also on the top of the list when it comes to endometriosis. So those are like the aspects. But from all of this, we basically distilled 4 topics. So we need so awareness is one of the points. Research is also another one of the points. Education is another one. Medication is another one, and also social security. Because one of the most severe problems with this disease is not only is it afflicting millions of people and people are waiting decades for a diagnosis, it's also a disease that's chronic because we don't know what is causing it. So what you can do is you can treat the symptoms of the disease, but you cannot heal the people from now. Mm-hmm. So really investing into research was also one of the major drivers there. And at that point in time, the investment into research was roughly €500,000 stretched over 20 years, which is from anyone knowing or like working in this field, it's nothing. You cannot even pay a bit of that. So this was also one of the biggest wins that we had in this, working together with the German endometriosis associations, members of parliament, and also a great team that we have now working on lobby work for the German endometriosis association called RWTH Aachen. We managed to get 20 million euros in funding for endometriosis from 2022 to 2027. And we're currently negotiating for a bit more.
And which direction is this going to go in completely in the research direction, or would you say it's more focused on giving the people who are suffering from the disease a chance maybe to pay their bills, pay the bills for the medication and so on?
So this is state money that is dedicatedly purposed for research and stuff. So it's a bit more technical of what you can do with tax money and how you can do it with tax money and whether it's tax or social security money. But this was tax money that was in the project for research for endometriosis. So this is dedicated for research for endometriosis, which is very broad in some sense, because there are different aspects that you should research. Not only you should research medical aspects, but you should also take a look at other fields. But so if you want to learn more about this, like the great work that the German Endometriosis Association, the Endometriosevereinigung, is doing, and that Endopolitisch Aktiv is doing, you should visit the website. Because also if you know a patient, the Endometriosis Association does much, much, much more than just the lobby work. For example, they offer for free phone consultation in case you want to know what to do with it, because on a work level. They also offer a register of doctors where like sometimes there's a problem because there's a lack of awareness in the doctors.
Yeah.
So they have a register where they know, okay, patients had good experiences with them, and it tells you, okay, like whether there's someone close to you. They have a great network of doctors, and they also provide for free education material for school,
That's very
stuff.
Good.
So it's a great website, it's a great association and great women working there. Definitely check it out.
Javed, would you like to say something for our listeners at the end of the episode?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. It was very, very fun chatting with you. And anyone listening, I can, on the one hand, highly encourage you, if you're looking for a student initiative anywhere where you are, and if there's a TEDx initiative, think about joining it, because if the experience is anything like the experience that you will have here in Aachen, you will not only have a great time, you will learn a great deal, but you will also have something that enriches your personal life and your professional life. And last but not least, you heard it, 24th of May, connecting the dots. I for sure will be there. You'll be there, I heard, Mafe. You will also be there, I heard. Yes, you'll also be there. You guys will also be there. The people in the background. The research team will also be there. And hopefully, like a lot of other people will be there.
Yes.
So yeah, come around and do subscribe to the Instagram channel, because I think maybe there will be early bird. I don't know if there will be early bird.
Yes, there will be early bird.
There will be early birds, and I mean the earliest bird is the one that sees it on the maybe Instagram account. Yes. So do follow and engage with the team.
Stay tuned, guys, for all the episodes coming on our YouTube channel. And Javed, thank you for being here. We're really happy.
Yes,
I think everyone who told us to host you has been right. You have been a great guest.
Thanks.
And I wanted to talk to you about so many other things, but I think we will save it for the other episodes. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you.